All right. So what's nice about it is we partner with a company called Lux Riot. We actually sell their pro software. It's called Lux Riot VMS, and we have varying licenses from 4 to unlimited, and all just a one-time fee, which is really nice. But what these are is they actually strip down their pro enterprise software and the TRENDnet only software for up to 32 cameras. So really nice about any one of these cameras that you see here is you're going to get our pro software for free as long as you're sticking with TRENDnet. And again, we understand that you guys have different brands, models of MVRs and such. That's where the pro version comes in. So if you do want to support third-party models, Panasonic, Axis, Canon, Samsung, whatever it is, even third-party MVRs, you can use the Lux Riot VMS. It supports over, I think, like 300 different devices now, and the list is growing every month. So they keep adding support for third-party cameras as well as our own. It's also OnViv compliant, so if you have OnViv cameras, no problem. You can add it in using the OnViv profile, or PIA as well. So if you have those cameras and you don't see it in the list, which is rare, you can always add it in that fashion as well. So these are the cameras we currently have out. You can see here that we have indoor and outdoor speed domes now, but kind of breaking it down into the outdoor cameras now. We'll show you because we originally came out with a 3-megapixel camera. Let me see if I can turn the annotations here so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So we came out with the 310 first. That's a 310 Ti. 3-megapixel camera, great camera. It's weatherproof. It's a bullet-style camera, very small form factor. What's nice about it is you can use it indoor or outdoor. So it's not just limited to outdoor applications because it's its size. It's IP66, so it can go into extreme weather conditions without having to worry about the camera being damaged. H.264 and motion JPEG streams, so it does have 2 streams. So if you have one for live viewing, one for recording, maybe one for mobile devices and one for desktops. So you can actually have different 2 different profiles for each of the cameras. 2-meter IR range, so it has really good infrared range, night vision range. It's got what's called Smart IR, which is really nice. Without IR, basically IR works is that you get closer to the camera, you get more washed out, more like white looking, because the IR LEDs are actually reflecting off your person. With IR, it actually will reduce the intensity or increase the intensity depending on the distance of the subject or object that you're trying to view. And you're going to get this in all the cameras you see here. They all have that Smart IR, so that way you can always maintain a clear image even at night. We moved down to the 320 mainly because people wanted a lower cost camera, and for larger solutions, most aren't going to run 40, 50 cameras at 3 megapixels unless they have a really good network and really good servers. So what we saw was they're dumbing down the resolution to about 720p or lower. And so we came out with the 1.3 megapixel resolution camera, so it's pretty much the same thing, but it's going to save you a couple dollars. And have, again, 30-meter IR range. All the cameras you can see here are OnViv compliant. That means you can add them into third-party MVRs or software as long as those MVRs and software support OnViv as well. The Profile S, if you guys are wondering. And so we do have the 310 and the 320. The 320 is the budget version, but still has the same great features. And the dome-style cameras. So just depending on what your application needs, we have both styles, bullet and ceiling mount dome. Again, we have a 3-megapixel, so that's a TVIP 311 Pi. And then we have the 1.3 megapixel. Very similar in features and functions to the bullet style, so I won't go over that again, but it does have a little bit shorter IR range, but still has that Smart IR feature, so you always remain that clarity even at night. All right, move on to the next slide here. Cameras. These have been out for about a year now. We have 2 models that are coming out soon. They're going to be 4-megapixel versions of these cameras. What you can see is what varifocal means is basically you can manually adjust the zoom and focus on the camera itself. That way you can have a super zoomed in view or a wide angle view. And we'll show you an example of differences between the 2 different views in the next slide. But we again have 2 different styles. We have the bullet style and then we have the dome style. These do have the tamper-proof screws, so it does have that special torque wrench with the pin in the center, so that way it's a little bit more secure. So if you have people within reach, you can remain, sure that no one's going to break into it or steal the camera or unscrew it from the wall. And so 3.5 megapixel optical zoom, 3 optical zoom for the dome style. They're 2 megapixel cameras, so still good resolution. They have a really good lens on them as well, which you'll see in the next screenshot or next slide. They are P, so 2.3 AF, just standard PoE, nothing special there. Again, on-VIF compliant. What's nice about these is they have micro SD card slot, so you can actually put an SD card in there and record motion or on a schedule or even continuously to the SD card. Simultaneously also recording to either an NVR or even our software as well. So you have different ways of recording and archiving the video. Of course, a lot of people ask, do I have to take the SD card out to retrieve the content? No, you can actually do it through the web browser. So you just log into the camera's IP address and can download the recorded video events through the web GUI. Let me turn this off again here. Okay. Here's a picture of the 343, I believe. 343. So 343 Pi. This one have the screw on the bottom for the zoom as well as the focus. So this is the zoomed out. So this is, I believe, 20 feet away. When you're 30 feet away. So zoomed in, you can see a lot more. You can read the license plate. And again, this is at 1080p resolution and 30 frames per second and H.264. So a really good image on these cameras. So when we come to newer models, these will still exist, but the newer models will have 4 megapixel resolutions, which will be even clearer. And the new 4 megapixel versions will also have a mechanical varifocal, so you don't actually have to manually adjust the zoom and focus. And zoomed in at 45 feet away at night. And they have the speed domes. So speed domes are new to us. We've had them for maybe about a year, maybe a little bit longer than a year now. And we have 2 different versions. So we have the TV IP 450 Pi. That's our speed dome with IRs. So you can see here the little sodium bulbs here. And this thing can view objects up to about 500 feet away even at night. It does have pretty strong optical zoom at 20 times. It has digital zoom as well, which is actually pretty decent. It is endless, endless pan, endless 360 speed dome, so you can actually have it on patrol 24/7. It's not going to burn out the motor. It's very robust. We have the non-IR version as well. So we have the TVIP 450p. The reason why people wanted this one is you can't really see where the camera's looking like you can on the 450 Pi. This one, it's more blacked out. I know you can see the internals in this picture, but when it's actually mounted, 20, 30 feet, on the roof of the building, you can't tell where it's looking one way or another. And have SD card, micro SD card slots. They are on top, so you gotta unscrew it when you're installing it. Put the SD card in. So make sure you do that before you finish your install if you intend to record that way. And this has 2-way audio, so you can actually hook up an outdoor microphone and outdoor speakers if you do want to do like an intercom type system. And then of course the wall mounts or the corner mount, ceiling mount, or pole mounting options. So what is here is they don't actually come with the arms. So if you do purchase these or sell them to a customer, make sure that you also find the related arm that they need, either for the corner of the building, wall mount of the building, or even like pole mount. And then this is a new camera. There's not many out on the market today. This is an outdoor 1.3 megapixel wireless outdoor camera. So it's a little weird because you can see the cable still. It does come with an AC adapter. So the idea here is, people want to install cameras outdoors, but might not have an Ethernet jack that connects to their network on the edge of their building where they intend to install the camera. So they might have wireless instead, so they can use the wireless signal, but a lot of cameras either require you to connect to an access point or they're indoor only and you can't put them outside. So this is a good solution for an outdoor wireless camera if you need it. The reason why we have the optional PoE port is, one, you can also wire it, of course, but one unique solution you can do with this is you can actually run a PoE injector up to the PoE port for power, so this way you still keep it weatherproof. You don't have to weatherproof the AC adapter if you intend to put outdoors. And the PoE injector, you have up to 100 meters of Ethernet cabling that you can run from the injector to the camera. So it makes the installation a little more flexible, and especially if you're going to be installing it outdoors. Because either way, you're going to have a gang box or a NEMA box with an outdoor outlet, or you can just buy a cheap $30, $40 injector, keep it inside, and just run an outdoor Ethernet cable to power the camera, and still have it connect wirelessly back to your network. This is cool. It also adds a SD card slot, micro SD card slot, up to 4 gigs. It is weatherproof as well, so it's a little, it's on the bottom of the camera. And again, it has the same features as our 310 and 320. It's going to have the 1.3 megapixel resolution. It's out IP66 rated. Same meter IR range with the smart IR, and on-viv supports Profile S.
Yeah, and then one quick thing to add to this, which is just such a really pleasant size. At least when I first, looked at it, I'm like, wow, this is, the resellers out there. This is an MSRP of only $154. So
yeah,
I mean that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
I don't like to limit it to just outdoors. It can be indoors too. Some people just like more like professional metal camera indoors, and for $100, it's not bad.
Absolutely. All
right, another camera that's coming out. This one isn't available yet, but it's right there, coming out pretty soon. 3 megapixel, full HD, 1080p, PoE IR network camera. This one has way better night vision. If you go to our website, I didn't want to play around streaming the videos over the WebEx in case it would cause any problems, but go to our website. You can look up the part number TVIP312PI, and you'll see a sample video. And you actually get the experience of how the camera would look at night in zero light. We have examples like this for all of our cameras, so if you ever have customers that want to get an idea of what the quality of the image is at night or during the day, you can always direct them to our website, and we have a nice little YouTube link that will show you an example. 15 meters IR range, advanced IR, basically prevents overexposure. Like I said, with the example we have, you can see the whole parking lot. It looks very uniform. It's black and white, of course, but you can see pretty much everything, all the details. So it's going to be a good camera when it comes out. And it's going to work with our TRENDnet View Pro software. It's also on-viv supported, so if you do want to add this to your MVR system, just make your MVR system supports on-viv Profile S, and you should be good.
I did get one question related to this. Can you turn the IR off and get a separate IR device if using motion recording bugs are attracted and turn in?
I can this one. On the previous cameras, I know that you can't turn them off, but you can always an IR illuminator, and you can put it to enhance the night vision as well. On this camera, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't had enough time to play with it and look at the interface. I can check with the product manager, and if you want to take his email, I can look that up and see if it is or not.
I will. Thank you.
All right. A lot of people have been asking for this. So we did come out with our TV MVR 104K, which is the kit. That does come with 2 720p cameras. The 320, I'll show you guys real quick. The 320 is this camera here. And so the 2 of the 320, 720 cameras, 1.3 megapixel. And let me turn this off now and go back. A 1 terabyte hard drive, an HDMI cable for your monitor, and 100-foot Ethernet cables for both cameras. PoE enabled, so it would power the cameras. So you basically just plug the cameras in and go. There's a real plug-and-play solution. But the feedback we got was they wanted a blank, no storage in it, no cameras, so that way they can add any cameras they wanted to instead of being, tied into the 320 cameras. So we come out with the TV NVR 104. It's going to have no disk inside it. It can support up to 4 gigs. And of course, it's going to still have those 4 PoE ports, so you can support 4 PoE cameras. And it's going to be much less, so the price is actually going to be much lower because, of course, you're just buying just the NVR itself. That's coming very soon. I think David said it's coming within like the next month or 2. So look out for that. What's up, Dave?
No, correct. hopefully by the first or second week of, well, actually probably like the second or third week of October.
Okay. So it's real soon. I think Ingram has them on order, so they'll be sent over. So for those in the coming weeks. But we're going to continue this NVR line. I'm going to open my roadmap here and just kind of give you a glimpse of what we're coming out with. So we're coming with an 8-channel, 2-bit PoE NVR rack mountable 8-channel NVR. We're also going to have a 16-channel next year, Q1 around there. We're also going to have a 32-channel. So we're going to see a lot more NVRs coming out from us. They should be pretty similar in the way they work. Just more channels, more options for storage, and then as you get into like the 16 and 32 channels, you'll probably see a few more bells and whistles. Yeah, so look out for those as well. And those are coming Q1 2016. There we go. So now we're switching gears to our switches, our wired Ethernet here. Just to go over TRENDnet, we were one of the first network companies that have energy efficient Ethernet, even before it was a standard. So we did have switches that did have this technology. Now it's a IEEE standard. It's IEEE 8023AZ, energy efficient Ethernet. And what it does is that, old school switching, or switches that didn't have it, basically would provide full coverage across all ports and for a 100 meter length cable. So what TRENDnet does is it pays attention to the port status. So like, is the port connected or not? If it's not, it'll disable the port until there's activity. There's standby. Maybe the port's connected, but there's traffic, so I'm into a low power standby mode. And then it'll also determine your cable length and the appropriate power to run that signal at that length. So that basically translates into about 70% on the Ethernet side of things, and about 45% energy savings on the gigabit side of things. So, if you do buy, tons of switches, you have a data center where you have a bunch of rack mount switches, TRENDnet can save you a few dollars every month. So, it's something you have. It doesn't affect performance at all. We've done multiple tests on that. So, the way you'll identify TRENDnet is you'll see a green band, like you see here in the middle switch. Anything with that green band basically has TRENDnet on the switching ports, and it will save you a couple bucks in the end of the month. And we talk about PoE, very popular product line for us. Our switches are solid. We do have other PoE injectors and splitters as well. Basically, how PoE works is there's two different standards that are official now. It's 802.3 AF and IEEE 802.3 AT. And the differences between these is basically 802.3 AF will give you max 15.4 watts per port, and 802.3 AT will give you 30 watts per port max. Now, as it stands, there's not many devices on the market that use AT, but it is growing. Notice that like outdoor cameras with heaters and blowers, or maybe heaters and coolers, endless speed zones, IRs, that type of stuff, those require more than 15.4 watts, and so you see those type of cameras using the PoE Plus or 30 watt power. But again, it's going to start growing more and more. But a lot of the times, if you're just working with simple, bullet cans and things like that, you can get away with just using 802.3 AF. And we do have both switches. So we do have 15.4 watt switches, and we do have 30 watt switches, and we'll show you guys that in the coming slides here. And over the net categories, how they are today, we have 3 different main categories for our switches. All of the categories will have PoE in it. The only one right now we're waiting on is the managed layer 2. The PM department is working on that as we speak, so that'll be available soon. But right now, we currently have unmanaged switches with PoE, and we do also have PoE WebSmart switches. The difference between the two, unmanaged switches is basically just a dumb switch, plug and play, very easy to use. Again, PoE options are available. Web switches do have a management interface, a web GUI. Again, very easy to use. Without WebSmart switches, you can use them as a plug-and-play switch. So, if a customer is deciding that they possibly might want to grow their solution, or maybe take advantage of some advanced networking protocols like WAN or quality of service or SNMP, just go to the WebSmart, use it as plug-and-play. Then when you cross that bridge, then you can, go into the interface and start setting up those VLANs or quality of service for your network. So, So it's a nice switch. You can also disable and enable PoE power. People like that on the PoE Web Smart switches. This prevents you from having to go to the switch or the device to power cycle it. And you may know that, when you do sorry about that. Maybe when you do a firmware update, you do have to power cycle the camera to, save the settings and such, or maybe you have an access point or a camera that hung up, and a power cycle usually resolves the problem. So instead of having to go physically to the camera or the switch, now you can just go through the interface, disable, re-enable, and you've essentially power cycled the camera. And with the managed layer 2 switches, the difference right here is not much right now. Basically, going to have the console port, SSH and RS-232 connection. They're very similar to our WebSmart switches, but once we release the PoE managed layer 2 switch, see a whole bunch of new features on the managed layer 2 switches. These are what we consider like our core switches, our more advanced switch. But as it is now, the WebSmart is probably your best choice until we release the managed layer 2 later this year. But again, you have your popular features like VLAN, quality service, IGMP multicasting, maybe for cameras, trunking, aggregation control protocol, pretty much all your popular smart switch features. I think a little bit of this already, so just kind of to reiterate, 802.3 AF is 15.4 watts, AT is 30 watts. You want to use Cat5 or better cabling, and of course, it does have smart powering. The way it works is it actually sends a digital signature to the device to see if it needs power. If it doesn't send that digital signature back or that handshake back, it's just going to provide data connectivity. It's not going to provide power. So I get that question pretty often. Can I plug a non-PoE device into a PoE port? Absolutely, no problem. Communications are growing every day, but access points, IP cameras, and voice over IP. Benefits. What's nice about PoE is you don't have to buy or hire electricians to come install power outlets for access points on the ceiling or access points outdoors or on the roof level. Instead, you can use a power outlet indoors, which is available, and then run up to 100-meter cabling out to your PoE devices. So say you're plugging in one outlet, you have a switch that's going to power multiple devices. So it just makes installations more flexible, cheaper because you don't have to install custom outlets around your environment. So some of our popular unmanaged PoE switches, and they're also as well as new, TPE PG541. So we're starting to get into industrial switching. So these are hardened switches. The TPE right there. You can see here the DIN rail mount on the back. It's IP30 rated. It is rated for extreme weather conditions, so you can put this out in like a NEMA box or a gang box, and it'll withstand temperatures from negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to, I believe, like 160 or 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's perfect for your camera solutions that are remote from the building, maybe on a telephone pole or electrical pole, and you want to do maybe parking lot or perimeter security, but you don't have power to the top of the pole. Well, now you can pull DC power or DIN rail power the switch. The switch also has 4 PoE ports on it, so you can actually power 4 PoE cameras. It makes like outdoor PoE solutions a little easier. We're coming out a lot more in this category. Again, I have a roadmap up here. I can tell you guys kind of what we're expecting here. At least it looks like around 7 new switches coming out by the end of the year, it looks like. So we're actually hustling on that. We're going to have DIN rail power as well. So if you guys don't have DIN rail power for these solutions, we're going to have it as well. So we're going to have this. It's going to be called our new industrial line. So they're all going to be hardened product switches, fiber converters, and yeah, PoE switches as well. And then we have the TPE TG160G. So people wanted a gigabit PoE switch, and so now we gave it to them. This is PoE Plus as well. So this is 16.4 PoE Plus or PoE, so it is backwards compatible if you guys didn't know. 26-watt power budget. This is important when you're speccing out your solution. I always want to make sure you're under power budget. So if all your PoE devices, the total power consumed exceeds that power budget, cameras are going to not connect. They're not going to get power. So you always want to make sure you check power consumption in all your PoE devices and just make sure it's under your PoE power budget. This is something that we list on our website, on the spec sheet, even on our line cards and stuff. So if you guys have that available, you can quickly look it up and see the solution will work for that particular switch. And mid-housing.
Evan,
Yes.
you have one more question that just came up. Does TRENDnet offer any service contracts on these switches?
We don't. We do have the limited lifetime warranty. So I don't know if you want to talk about that right now. I can bring it up.
Yeah, bring that up. We'll
Here, let me cheese screen.
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, indeed, we're going to talk about the limited lifetime warranty here real quick, but just, stepping back to, again, the question Evan was addressing. It's a common question. I do a lot of, Ingram reseller events throughout the U.S., and, a lot of the, resellers like you folks are picking up that question. So it's in the works, but it's way, as Evan was saying, whether it's a service or product roadmap, it's way down the road, but, we do realize the importance of that, so we're working on it. So initially, to try and get things really started in the right direction, by a huge popular demand, if you will, is the lifetime warranty.
The warranty PDF or no?
See it. We got it.
Okay.
It's a little nice, though. I don't know if you can make it bigger. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, we sent out a blast on this to a lot of resellers that are signed up for our partner program, which we can talk about at the end. But it shows a snapshot of the three switches, but it applies, and Evan can sort of elaborate on this a little bit, but it applies to all of our switches. So this is something that's probably well overdue. Again, and all the events that I do throughout, each year. That's again one of the many popular requests from the resellers and the virus and B out there. So come on board with that. So we're pretty excited about it, and we do everything we can to continue to look at things like this. It's super important to like you folks out there, but we're excited about this one. So, and also huge big thing there, retroactive back to the beginning of the year, January 1st.
Yep. All right. So, yeah, like Dave said, it's retroactive on all of our switches. If you want to get the details, you can go to our website. It's actually listed under our product warranty on on the bottom of our homepage, so you can look it up there if you guys want a little more information. But we did it to match Netgear. We got a lot of customers going, well, Netgear or this, this company has lifetime warranty, this company has lifetime warranty. So now it's nice to say hey, TRENDnet has limited lifetime warranty as well. So we can compete with them, and our switches are just as good too. So now, I think that was one of the main things that's keeping us out of some solutions was people wanted that lifetime warranty. So now we do have it. So that's nice. So moving on, so that was our unmanaged PoE switches. Here's some of one of them is our really popular 1620 WS. So we've had this around for a while. 16.4 PoE Plus does have 2 SFP slots for fiber. So if you have mode or single mode fiber you want to run from building to building or floor to floor, you can do so. They are shared ports, so you do get full 16 PoE and you get the 2 SFPs. And we have the TPE 2840WS, so this is going to be our 24-port PoE switch with 4 SFP slots. So here, this is actually PoE and PoE Plus. Again, there's not many devices on your network that are probably going to beat PoE Plus. So we've saved some cost by giving you 4 PoE Plus for those high-powered devices, and the rest of the switch is going to be standard PoE for your traditional VoIP handsets, access points, PoE cameras that are indoor, things like that. So we do have PoE and PoE Plus on the switch, and then SFP slots again for fiber. So if you want to do that, we have that available too. And 105 watt PoE power budget does support class of service. We support tons of IEEE protocols, all of the popular ones, VLANs, quality of service, SNMP, TCP. So if you don't see a protocol listed here, it's probably on our website. It's just a super long laundry list. So other more important ones here. One of the real popular features on the newer switches, and which you'll see going forward, we call it voice VLAN in these switches. I think going forward in our newer switches, I think we're going to call it private VLAN. The real thing about this, I don't know if you guys have set up VLANs before, but it's tedious. It requires a lot of planning and things. You have to set up multiple switches. Sometimes they're clients. And it's kind of frustrating, you know, because it's not as easy as you expected it to be. With voice VLAN, it simplifies it so much. So basically how the voice VLAN works is, let's say like you have voice over IP handsets, for example, Polycom. Polycom has an OUI, which will identify it as a Polycom handset, right? So OUIs are used by various vendors in, you know, we have like a MAC address which will say, hey, we're TRENDnet. So what it is, it uses this OUI and you input this number, or, you know, numeric character set into our switch, check a box, and what it'll do is it'll gather all the Polycom handsets that have that OUI, group together into a private VLAN, so it's separated from other traffic, and then what it'll do is it'll prioritize that VLAN over all other data traffic. So this way, it can assure that your voice or IP traffic is untouched. You know, you don't have drop calls, static, jitter, things like that. So voice VLAN, super easy to use. So if you have customers that aren't super network tech savvy, they do want to prioritize, you know, VoIP handsets or voice over IP. These newer WebSmart switches will have it for them. There we go. So now I'm on to SNMB or SMB wire products. Coming soon, very soon. This is our TEW730 APO. It's going to be an IP55 rated outdoor access point. We're going to have two versions. This is the 2.4 gigahertz version, so it's going to be N300, 300 megabits per second. It's going to be a little different. We do have multiple modes in this one. We have FAT AP, Thin AP, Virtual Access Controller, Virtual Access Controller Plus AP. So what these mean basically is these can be a controller. So like for example, if I bought two of these 730 APOs, set one up as a virtual controller and one as a Thin AP, and basically I can do all of the configurations of Thin AP from the virtual access controller on my main building. So it just makes like the installation process a little quicker. People are more traditional and they just want to plug everything in their lab, make it work, and then go deploy it. That's fine too. But for people that want to save some time, you know, you can use the controller software. It's actually built into the web GUI, so it's not like an extra utility or anything like that. It's actually all based in the web GUI of the product. 9 decibel directional antenna. You can expect around a mile, 1.1 mile, full bore wireless N300. You know, as you go farther, you know, your speeds will start to tail off. But you know, we get that question a lot. What's the distance I can get for wireless N300 full speed? So that'd be around 1 mile. And so that's our 2.4 gigahertz model. Also have our 4 APO. So same exact thing. It's going to be N300, but now it's going to be 5 gigahertz. What we came out with both is we do have customers that will use both. You know, they'll use maybe 2.4 gigahertz for their internal Wi-Fi. So they don't want, you know, any type of external Wi-Fi, other 2.4 devices, you know, interfering with it. So what they'll do is, like, instead of having a 2.4 gigahertz bridge and 2.4 gigahertz internally, they'll have 5 gigahertz bridge and 2.4 gigahertz internally for their wireless. So it reduces interference, and again, there's less interfering factors with 5 gigahertz, more non-overlapping channels as well. The only difference really is the decibel of the directional antenna that's built in. So this is going to have a 13 decibel because inherently 5 gigahertz is a little bit shorter range. So we boost that back up by highering the gain on the antenna. Just an example here of how a common solution we see with our customers is we have one building with internet access. Let's say that's our main building, our main network. And then we have a satellite building, which we want to light up with network access, internet access, maybe even install some cameras. So, you know, you can trench fiber or Ethernet and spend tens of thousands of dollars, or you can spend $500, actually well under $500, to two buildings together and interconnect the network. So this is becoming popular. We do have various options. So 730 and 734 aren't just the only options we have. We do have IP67 models as well to show you guys. Very common solution. I'll just skip through this because we kind of go over this on the other access points as well. This is our TEW739 APBO. So this is the IP67. So this is a little bit more weatherproof. It's going to be N300 as well. I like this one because it does have omnidirectional antennas. So you can use ours, which we sell separately. So if you guys are buying this access point, it does not come with an antenna because you choose which strength you want, or even if you want third-party antenna that you might like better. So it's an N-type connector, so standardized connector. It's not going to be something special. So I usually use the 5 decibel, the one on the left here, just gives us a little bit better range. But if you want surge protection, you can go with the 4 decibel and 6 decibel. So back to the 739. Again, there's going to be like a wireless bridge access point using WDS technology to link either building to building, or this can do point to multiple point since it does have the omnidirectional antennas. I'll show you guys an example of the solution as we go over the other ones here. So the other wire line, the IP67 line, is our TEW 738 APVO. So again, this is the exact same as the 739, but it does come with a built-in antenna. So you do not have antennas for the 738. One unfortunate thing is it doesn't have the antenna connectors, but since we have the 739, you know, they can go with that option. And you can mix and match, which I'll show you guys in the example as well. And I just got a preview. We're going to have AP controller for these access points, the 738, the 739. If you guys are older customers of ours and have old products like our legacy products like our 676, it'll work with that as well, and our 455. So all our IP67 outdoor wireless bridges will have an AP controller. It is like a web GUI based, but you can install it on a computer. It could be a laptop or just a computer in the network. That computer will set the access points you want up, advanced settings, bridge settings, all that. So that's coming soon. It's going to be free. That's going to be cool too. So it's just going to be something you can download off our website, and then you can pass on to your customers so they can download themselves. So for that as well. And now real-world examples or applications. So we've taken examples that we've gotten from email requests for proposals on, you know, solutions for buildings and such. So one of them, we had 3 buildings. We had the main building, which is building A, B, and building C. Those 2 remote buildings, they had no network access and they had no internet access. We wanted to install cameras as well as some access points in both building B and C, and wanted to have the cameras there too. So in this solution, the reason why we use 2 separate bridge pairs, because we do get questioned a lot, is because of throughput. So when you're working with wireless N300, no matter what brand, whatever it is, your throughput is going to range anywhere from 70 to 90 megabits per second of actual throughput. So that N300 goes down to actual throughput about 85 to 90. So we make sure that the bandwidth from building B is less than building A's bridge can handle. If C is 85, now we're going to have bottleneck issues. So we originally tried to do a point to multiple point, like you see. I'll show you in the next slide. We tried an access point here servicing the 2 buildings, but it wasn't enough bandwidth. They're going to have frame rate lag on their cameras. You know, performance on their wireless might not be great either because they're sharing so much bandwidth and they're bottlenecking. So that came out with the 2 bridge pairs. So have enough throughput for their cameras as well as their ceiling mount access points and maybe some wired workstations. So another solution, if I can click on it. There we go. So this is a solution we did when we had enough bandwidth at building A. So bandwidth from building B and C was less than 5 megabits per second, so their bandwidth was less than 85. So we can use a omnidirectional access point at building A. So with the omnidirectional, you can actually do 1 to 4. You can actually have 2 more buildings here. Again, as long as you keep the bandwidth below 85, you can actually add 2 more buildings to the bridge. And so see here is we had 720p cameras instead of our 3 megapixel cameras. So we were able to actually use all those cameras, get the bandwidth over, and not have any bottlenecking issues. And of course, ceiling mount access points for wireless access inside the building, and the PoE switch to power everything. And then a third solution. So we have customers that have obstructions, tree lines, buildings, whatever it is. You don't have line of sight from one building to another. The solution to this, it's not recommended to go any more more than what you see here. But basically how this works, let's say that there was a tree line here or a building. I can't bridge between the two. So what I can do now is I can have building B serve as a midpoint, because building B has line of sight to both building A and building C. By bridging all the way through building B all the way to building C, I can get around that obstruction. And the only thing that you're concerned with here is every time you have this second wireless bridge here, you're going to have your throughput. So if you go to another bridge, you're going to get half of the 32 megabits per second. The latency plays a big issue because the more hops you add, as we call them, the more latency you add, frame rate lag, your performance will drop considerably. But we've done this for customers that have, for example, access control. It's a simple wireless panel that needs to send a very small piece of data all the way back to the main building. We've had people do that. So, for certain applications, this works fine. But just be aware that after your second hop, you're going to be having your throughput every subsequent hop. So these are the three common solutions we prescribe on a daily basis, pretty much. We sell tons of these access points. Very reliable, again, IP67. So we had a big demand for wireless AC ceiling mount access point. So we answered with our A21 DAP. This is a AC 1200 ceiling mount access point. So it's going to be 867 on the AC band and 300 on the N band. This is going to have your popular access point modes from normal access point mode to client AP, WDS, WDS AP, repeater modes. So you have that taken care of. What makes it different is, one, the price is going to be much lower than our existing ceiling mount access points, and it's also going to have a software controller. So it's going to be a Windows-based utility that you onto a computer. And what's nice about it is you can manage multiple access points all at once. So if you do have a solution where you're installing like 6 of these in like a business, it makes it easier to streamline the settings and the setup process. So we're going to be in phase 1 of the utility. So this is already out. Phase 1's out of the utility. Phase will come out with our wireless N. It's going to look exactly the same. It's going to be called the 755 instead. That's the phase 2 is going to allow you to configure advanced wireless and network settings, as well as configure the APs over the internet as well. So that's going to come out when our 755 is released in the next few months. So again, showing you guys an example of solutions that we prescribe customers. So they emailed in. Basically, they had a 2-floor building. They wanted seamless coverage throughout the entire building, and so our option was what we call a roaming wireless network. So it's not mesh. A lot of people confuse that with mesh. Mesh is more expensive because you usually have to invest in the infrastructure to enable mesh, in a business environment. So usually your product's a little higher priced. In a roaming network, you can use traditional access points and there won't be any issues. You can actually use multiple APs that are wired into the network. So your example here. So the APs are wired into the network. You can't see the wires, but they're all getting powered off that switch there. And the way it works is they're all going to have different channels. So here's the setup, notes, I guess you'd say. So when you look at it, get the little annotation thing here. You're going to have the same SSID in a roaming network. You're going to have the same encryption type, passkey, and then the channel will be different. That's the main thing. And what you notice here is I have the same SSID for 2.4 as well as 5 gigahertz. There is a reason for that. These access points support a feature called band steering. So in order to enable band steering, that's one of the prerequisites. You have to have the same SSID on both bands, same encryption on both bands, same encryption key on both bands, and then again, channels are going to be different, especially for 5 gigahertz since there's more available channels. So the way we did this was we did 1, 6, and 11 on each floor. So and there was a cement floor in between, so they actually didn't interfere with each other. So that's how we did the 2 floors for that, and then for the 5 gigahertz channel, we had enough channels to individually assign them one. Basically what band steering does is most people will connect to the 2.4 just because it's, you know, in the order it's listed in your wireless connection settings. Usually it's alphabetical, chronological, so like it'll actually, or numerical, so it'll actually show 2.4 first. A lot of people overcongest that band. With band sharing, seamless to the user. If they have a 5 GHz radio in their tablet, you know, computer, phone, whatever it is, and they connect to the 2.4 in a sharing environment, what it will do, the access point will probe the client and say, do you have 5 GHz radio? If it does, it'll move that client over seamlessly and transparently to the 5 GHz band and basically balance the connections out better, so you have better performance. So, neat feature, especially in environments where you have lots of clients, so I always recommend that you enable that if you do have a large network. All right, so now next slide here. Our favorite technology, you know, when it came out, we had 10 megabits per second power line. It was terrible. 85 megabits per second power line was terrible. But then once power line or home plug AV came out with 200 megabits per second, then started things getting really good. Stable, you know, you can connect over, I believe it's 3 meters to your wall. So like most houses, you can connect in any room and get wire connection, and even have wireless access points that work on power line. So the way that power line works, if you guys aren't familiar with it, is you basically start off with at least two. So you have one that's going to be connected to your router. So this one's actually connected into the LAN port. And what it does is actually, and you can see down here, drawing continues, it goes through the electrical circuitry, all the other adapters, and extends through the power network. And again, you have up to about 300 meters, or like 984 feet or something like that, that you can run the power line 200 and 500. And so this way it's easy to get around obstructions. You know, people have problems with wireless dead spots. This is a great way to get around those because we do have the wireless access point now. Show you guys that. There we go. We have the adapter, usually in each category, the compact adapter, usually with a bonus outlet. And then this is what I'm talking about here. We have the 500 megabits per second power line access point. So this one's really cool because it comes in a kit or a la carte. So you can buy it individually if you already have a power line network and just add it to it. If you don't have a power line network and you want to start one, you can buy the kit, which you see here. So the adapter or the nano adapter, this would plug into your router. And then you can't because the antennas are built in, but this is actually a wireless access point. And it actually has two Ethernet ports on the top, so you can actually also connect to wired Ethernet devices as well. And it's great for people who have dead spots in like maybe like the den or maybe like the basement, or you know, there might be like a cement wall or floor or something blocking the signal. So the power line, you can usually get around these obstructions because you're using the electrical circuitry. And then since this is an access point, you can actually just broadcast Wi-Fi in that specific room. And what you need about power line is you can unplug it and you can move it around to different rooms. I even have people, you know, move it outside on a sunny day and you know, access their tablet while they're sitting by the pool or, you know, sitting out in the backyard. It's not weatherproof, but, you know, during the day, you know, that's no problem. You can hook it to an outlet and get Wi-Fi outdoors as well. So very convenient. It's very easy to use. You can give this to anyone, you know, and they'll be able to connect it and get it running and get it set up. It's literally plug and play. They check with all TRENDnet. If you buy their adapter, you plug it in, it'll sync back up to the network. So it's really easy, and now we're getting up to gigabit speeds too, which I'll show you guys in the next slide. So now our line 1200, now home plug AV2. This is going to increase the speeds to gigabit now, and it'll increase the distance up to 465 meters. So these go further and they're faster. We do have two versions right now. The one you're looking at is our 421. This has the bonus outlet, so you can, you know, you don't lose an outlet if you plug it in. You have the smaller form factor, TPL 420E and E2K as well if you don't want the bonus outlet, and you just want a little bit smaller adapter. And that's it. So, you know, basically TRENDnet advantages, you know, we have pre-sale support, you know, answer phones on a daily basis. We have, you know, a huge team here that helps support all of our partners, distributors, and even end users. So you always get that personal touch. You're going to call into Torrance, California, and, you know, get your solution right away and not have to deal with, you know, 1-800 numbers and stuff like that. Technical support, so we do have free 24/7 tech support as well for end users. Highly informative website. We have that YouTube channel I was talking about as well. It's called TRENDnet TV. If you want to look at product spotlights, product overviews, sample of camera videos, TRENDnet TV is the way to go if you want to look at that. And I think that's about it. And I think, Dave, do you want to add anything about the TRENDnet Advantage?
Sure. I see we got some questions, too, that we can address. So now I just wanted to give everybody on the call here, all the resellers on the call, a heads up. The two guys, actually three of them on there. Of course, you've got Evan, who's based on our corporate headquarters, but he does travel a little. Peter and Amilcar are basically our two key inside guys. They're your go-to guys. I think a little bit of a map that will come up on the next slide I'll have Evan pull up, but the long story, those guys are great advocates to have and support guys to have to help you guys grow your business and help you with your questions, your solutions, your applications, discounts, ability questions, special pricing, which is where Matt Norton comes into play. So those three guys are a great team. Just you guys side being the resellers that you want to throw an opportunity our way, whether it's a bid quote or a question that you have, anything like that. We're ready to take advantage, and these guys are really a great support team out there. Evan, if you want to just pull up that one reseller program PDF.
Yeah, let me get that real quick here.
And then let's see if we can, I don't know if there's any other live questions we have, but I know there's a couple of ones that on the
couple. I can go over those once you guys share the map.
And there you go. Can you get it now?
All right. Cool. Yeah, if you just enlarge it, you got both of them up there. There we go. And again, get these the copies out to you guys, to all the others on board. Amilcar, and just scroll down to the bottom of that if you could, Evan. I don't know if you can. Map is perfect. So Peter handles most of the central U.S. and the western United States, and then Amilcar handles the eastern U.S. So you've got a great support team. But without going over every single benefit of this program, the one that stands out to me the most, Evan did a great job on covering a lot of our new products and our existing products. And I'm sure there's things that maybe later today or next week or tomorrow you're like, hey, what was Evan talking about? At TRENDnet. The way for you guys to take it to the next level is with 30% discounts on 5 SKUs that you select once you sign up for this program. And usually it takes less than 20 hours or 24 hours to implement. So if you sign up with the partner program with Matt, Amilcar, or Peter, and then tomorrow you want to try one of the varifocal cameras or one of the new switches, you can get an additional 30% discount up front, can't talk now, up front taken off of your regular Ingram price that your sales rep's going to quote. So it's a great way to just, if you're riding the fence and not sure that's the proper solution, the 30% discounts are a no-brainer. If, Denise, we want to cover questions?
Sure, absolutely. We do have a couple questions. Just kind of touching back, I know you did touch on special pricing, but is there anything we can register large products for special pricing?
Absolutely, and again, that would go through Matt Norton and actually Peter Amilcar, depending upon where the reseller is located. But Matt Norton is our product champ based at the East Coast sales headquarters at Ingram out in the Buffalo, New York area. But Matt Norton's, again, a key guy. They've got his phone number and his email. And, again, to that very first, one of the first slides that Evan covered, we don't etched in stone criteria of the eligibility of that special pricing. A lot of things that we can be flexible on. If it's a small quantity opportunity, we can still pursue special pricing on it. If it's a large one, we can do that. We can do deal registration. We're really flexible with the different way to treat any special pricing that you guys bring to us. But I think what really helps us close the deal for you is the seller submits that heavily to get it resolved within a couple hours. We get back to Matt real quick throughout the day. Again, partially due in part because Peter and Amilcar are at their desks all day. So we can be responsive to just about any special pricing opportunity.
Perfect. And then two more. Is there an AP that can do 1 gig speed?
We have right now, like right now as it stands, I don't have the ceiling mount. We have like the indoor like desktop style that looks kind of like our 812. Those do the 1.3 gigabits per second wireless AC. The ceiling mount ones will do 867 megabits per second as it stands. The main one is just heat dissipation, you know, and keeping the profile of the device as small as possible, especially ceiling mount stuff. C is a little bit larger than our other ceiling mount access points, but it's because it's dual band and it has the AC radio in it. But yeah, we do in the routers and like the normal desktop style access points, but not in the ceiling mount yet.
Perfect. Thank you. And we did have one more question, and we're going to announce the winner as well. We're unfortunately running out of time, but I have all my questions down that I'll share with our internal Ingram and TRENDnet after this, and we'll also be sharing all this information to everyone after the presentation. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you, Evan and David, for hosting this training with us. If there isn't anything else, thank you very much, and we'll reach out with any additional resources for everyone.
I have a question on the chat.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was going to show, it's a question I get a lot. Let me see if I can share my web browser. See that? Multiple phases? All right, let me just say that. So, yeah,
there you go.
The small net builder, because like they have some pretty good diagrams and stuff. But basically, the short answer is does Powerline cross phases? Yes. If you go to SmallNet Builder, you'll get a diagram like this. It's great to explain it to your customers if they're in doubt, because we do get a lot of people go, well, I tried it and it didn't work, 6 years ago. Try it again, especially HomePlug AV2. If they're totally unsure that it won't work, or HomePlug AV2 should solve it, no problem. But all of the adapters that we currently sell should cross phases. And like here's a great example of how a home is wired. You're going to have two phases coming in from your service meter, usually for washer dryer type stuff, your 220 volt, as well as your normal power outlet. So it is possible, and it will cross phase, and it'll still communicate. So that was the answer to that. And I think other than that was it, Shadi.
Thanks, everyone. We'll also send out these questions to our internal team for follow-up as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a great day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.